Hey guys, Vivi-chan here. Hope you guys are doing well. So we're going to continue with more of Attack on Titan Season 3, Episode 21 or Episode 58. Whoosh! I realized last episode that there was there's a lot of important information that I kind of skipped just because the episode went by so fast, or I just didn't talk about it. There was a part where I did mention that the Marleys wanted to enter, the three walls, but I didn't say why. I went back to check, and the reason was they wanted to get resources, because apparently they're still in a war, and beyond the three walls they have more resources there that they can use, such as fossil fuels. I find it interesting that the reasoning is so realistic, because nowadays we use a lot of fossil fuels and that just drives our everyday lives with all the vehicles and such. And correct me if I'm wrong, but only the Eldians are able to turn into Titans, just because if the Marleys wanted to, I guess they can assign their own people to infiltrate the three walls, but they have to, search throughout the different internment zones to look for warriors to help them to go in, right? With Reiner and Bertholdt were also Eldians, so we're just fighting other Eldians, and all which I assume is the desert that's in between the three wall island and their current continent. And last thing, we still don't really know what really twisted the history so it would make them look good and the Eldians bad. Or someone was like, hey, you can read that? And he's like, not really, but I can get a gist of it. So the history might, because I think back in season 2 they said Ymir was 60 years ago or something. So I want to say this before we begin in case there's no opening and I don't get to talk about it. And let's see what else gets revealed in this episode. Yeah, I'm sorry for talking. Hopefully I can touch off with this talk at the end of the episode, along with what I thought of this current episode, episode 58. Let's get into this episode. And it's called The Attack Titan. Oh, alright, and play. Ooh. Yeah, the only thing different is just, the hair. The body type looks like Eden's Titan. Oh! Shoot, well, I didn't have to talk so much at the beginning if they're troubled us so much. Are also Eldians. Bertholdt was calling us you're the devil, but he's been brainwashed. But like I said, also, true history between the Eldians and Marley might be a bit complicated because we don't really know, besides what the textbook says, which are obviously fake to support the Marleys, and whatever Grisha kinda deciphered it, but not really. Alright, let's go and see what happens. The Attack Titan. Shingeki no Kyojin. Also, he named his son after this guy? Oh, that's how they test it with the blood. Man, that's a true warrior right there. Is it to infiltrate the three walls? Yeah, he lost all his comrades, his wife, family drifted, can't go back. Oh, reminiscing memories? Oh, I thought they asked him the question. Oh, I thought he already turned 16. Time's up. She looks amazing. Yeah, what was that? Damn, 199. The world, huh? So it's not just the Marleys? Mm-hmm. Mm. So if you're royal, the king's ideals will still be brainwashed into you? Oh. Is it because of the Dinah Fritz Titan? I feel like maybe we're still gonna have to keep in touch with Zeke. Or maybe it will still work with, Queen Historia if they work together. Just like everyone saying that. Oh, that person has to be a Titan. So, it has to be Zeke? Hmm. That's scary, but aren't we like Republic now? Oh? Huh? Like their names of someone in the past? Okay, I better watch this ending, right? Please tell me there's more. Oh my gosh, next week episode is the last episode. I want more details. Alright, so when the owl mentioned Armin and Mikasa, does he mean someone from the past or is this from the future? Because if it's from the future, that's kind of crazy. This episode, we get a lot from past to present. The owl, turns out his name is also Eren. I love that Grisha named his son after the first Eren, Owl Eren. He tells us the reasons in the story. Apparently, you only have 13 years to live as a Titan. So even though it's like, whoa, miraculous recovery where you can just go from like barely being alive, turn into a Titan shifter and, like restoring your whole body. But in exchange, you only get 13 years. I guess that's like, it's a curse. The side effect of like the subject of Ymir. And I think Eren told everything he knew to Hanji. The part where Grisha asks Owl, like, why did you pick me of all people to be like the one. He tells him that it was because you were the one who took a step forward beyond like the walls. Like if you were to stay within your walls, you could have had like quiet life, you know, become a doctor, your sister would still be alive, you'll still be with your family and everything would be all cool. But because you took that next step and then you learned hate, like the hate developed, you know, and it drove you all the way to this moment. That's why I picked you. And, you know, Grisha at this point, he's, you know, he thinks it's the end because, you know, he lost Dinah, he lost his comrades, and, you know, he's cut off from family, meaning Zeke, but I'm not really sure what he thinks of Zeke. Like, does he blame Zeke? Or he did say, like, he should know better because Grisha himself was also subjected to his father's belief, which he did not believe. He also asked the owl, why didn't you save them earlier? The owl was like, I have sacrificed like hundreds to thousands of my own people for the future of Eldia. That is commitment right there. And I guess during all this time, Eren is like going back and forth between the memories and reality, and you know, he's like phasing through. That's why he keeps like kind of daydreaming. He knows that the Dinah Titan was his dad's first wife. And I'm pretty sure he knows about Zeke being his like half-brother. He and Mikasa are released from jail early. Well, technically they're just there for punishment. And how can you punish like heroes, like the people who regained Wall Madia and got the Colossal Titan powers? And also, Historia was reading the letter. Like, it doesn't seem like much, so that's why Jean and Hanji were like, do you think there's some kind of code in there? When she touched it, she did feel the like a surge of memories. So I guess this is connected to that like founder Titan power, because like it was talking about how like all of these Titans are connected through like time and space through a coordinate with the founding Titan. And since Historia is like a direct descendant of it, she is, even though she isn't a Titan shifter, she's still connected because she has the blood of the original founding Titan. That's my thoughts, right? So during the meeting where Hanji was discussing like Grisha's past, like there's like a world outside the walls and like we are the subject of Ymir. He was talking about the books and everything, and they were touching upon the topic that even though Eren is not a founding Titan, he was still able to use the coordinate power. Now, at first their predictions was like, oh, you don't have to be a founding Titan to use this power. But Eren was only able to use it that one time after he punched the Dina Titan. So that memory just like resurfaced up, and Eren just like, because he connected, because she is like related to the founding Titan. Also because we saw like Historia was able to like connect with that paper, see memories within that paper. If Eren and Historia work together, they are able to do it. I don't think she has to be a Titan shifter. I think Historia as herself could be able to do it. If not, then I think somehow we're unbrainwashed Zeke and like get him on our side. I think like the last 2 episodes I was like, oh my gosh, we gotta kill Zeke and Reiner. But right now we know that they're kind of the victims, because if we know that only the Eldians are able to transform into the Titans, because the Eldians are the subject or the descendants, subjects of Ymir, Reiner, Annie, and like somehow, I feel like somehow we have to get Annie out of the ice and maybe get some info out of her too, because right now she's the only like outside person. And right now Eren has not told anyone because he doesn't want like this could be false information, and we don't know what they can do to Historia. So even though Historia is still queen, she's only queen in name, so the people will still feel like it's okay. But I think right now like their ruling system is like more like a republic, the people's government. Yeah, and then we kind of end off the episode where like the owl was telling Grisha about make a family, make friends with people. So in the future, like in case something happens to you, you still have people to like carry on that will. So, you know, last episode I was saying like, oh, he created a family and everything on the side, but that was what he's supposed to do. So you could tell that Grisha really loved Dinah. He was like, what? Create a new family? Like, what are you talking about? I can't do that. Oh yeah, and I think like somewhere during the meeting, Anji, which they also mentioned like, oh, she is the next commander. Wow, goddamn. Like, we knew that because, like, from, I think, the previous season, or I think in Season 3, Part 1, yeah, Erwin did mention if anything happened to him, Hanji would take over. If you were, like, royalty and you had the Titan power, you would be subjected to the king's ideal. Because, like, you know, the king wanted to stay inside the wall. He didn't want to be involved in the war of the Titans. I'm not saying it's easy being a king, because, like, you do have to take control, be the people's king, which he didn't do. He ran away. If he was able to, like, you know, put his foot down and just create peace and, like, Marleyans and Eldians, like, live together, but he couldn't do that. So when the king and the other Eldians moved, the Eldians that were left on that continent were, like, looked down, and then the Marleys took over and created their own empire. Ymir's letter, she did say she was about to die. I think Ymir also only had the power for 5 years, so she should have 8 years left. So why is she dying? It could be she's about to be killed off, she's about to sacrifice her life. Reiner was next to her, so she could only write what she could write, but she did, like, leave her memories with Historia, so she saw, like, you know, what we saw a bit in season 2 with the, you know, her origin and her, like, going off to paradise and sleeping. There was also another scene, but I didn't really understand it, so like a tiny, like, second or two where I think Ymir might be, like, in an experiment with the people of Marley. Like, I'm not sure. I'm just assuming that, like, Reiner and them took her back to the Marleys, and then, like, maybe the scientists, whatnot, over there are trying to pick her brain. I don't know. It looked like a really sad Ymir was, like, you know, being hanged up. You know how, like, Eden was, like, in part 1 where, like, Rod Reiss was about to take him. Yeah, it kind of seemed like that kind of location, so maybe that's why she's dying. I'm just making a guess. I also really like the part where Owl Eden was saying, like, you gotta, like, he was really emphasizing, you have got to get Founding Titan power back from that cowardly king. Like, we can't take enough of this. What is the plan right now? They also mentioned, like, 190 plus people has passed, and only, like, us surviving, like, 9 came back. So, like, are we gonna get, like, the people in the walls to, like, fight? Because, like, if we want to see what's beyond the walls, like, get to the sea, like, get back at the Marleys, like, we have to, like, oh, somehow we also have to get the people inside the walls and the other Eldians on that continent to, like, come on our side, and we have to fight. We're not trying to kill the Marleys, we're just trying to, like, take control and, like, bring peace back. Maybe this is, like, just too happy, you know. And also the fact that Eden mentioned that, like, he only has 8 years left, so it's kind of crazy. Like, you know, Mikasa didn't even believe it. Like, what? Like, whatever the owl said may or may not be true. Because, like, maybe this has happened to previous people. They try to live past the 13 years. Most likely that's true. And, you know, the thing with the time and space connected through a coordinate. And he also mentioned that, like, if you were to pass the 13 years and you just died of natural cause, natural age, then, like, a baby born of Eldian subject of Ymir would, like, appear. But I'm not sure if that baby would have the memories. But it should, right? Since they're all connected by the coordinate. I also love that the name of this episode is called The Attack Titan. So now we officially know what Eden's Titan name is called. At first, like, when I saw the title, I did think that, but, like, I wasn't sure. I thought maybe it's just like, oh, you know, sometimes when the name of the title is the name of the series name, then it just shows it's gonna be, like, a big episode. And yeah, this big reveal, I better start calling him the Attack Titan now instead of the Eden Titan when he's in that form. That's such a crazy reveal. It's like we knew from the very beginning, but now it's, like, officially out there. And we got the Attack Titan, Colossal, Armored, Female Titan. The 4 names we know. You know, they said there's 9 Titans and they all have, like, individual names. So let me see. Eden's Titan is the Attack Titan, Colossal, Armored, Female Titan, and then Beast Titan, and then Ymir's Titan, the one that's, like, 4 meters and is able to, like, jump around everywhere. I'm not sure what that's called. And then there's also that one Titan that's traveling with Beast Titan, and he has the, like, the barrel, the box with him. And then there should be 2 more. I'm not sure if the Founding Titan counts, but it should, right? So that's only 8, so there should be 1 more, maybe. Grisha ate Frida's Titan, which was the Founding Titan. So Eden technically has 2 Titans in him, right? Does that mean he gets to live 26 years? Nah, I just made that up. The thing about having to be connected to the royal blood, then he's able to activate the coordinate powers. So, whew, that was a big reveal, huh? I still feel like I'm forgetting to talk about something, but I cannot think of anything. Yeah, please leave me your comments, and I'll be sure to read them, and see you guys for next reaction. Peace out.